The CIPSA Framework Clock. CIPSA stands for Certified in Practical Scaled Agile. This is an acronym. You would be hearing this term CIPSA Framework Clock for the first time. And this Framework Clock concept has been explained in the upcoming CIPSA certification course, which is based on the CIPSA framework. So let us see what this Framework Clock is about. So this is where we have a clock, and this is called the CIPSA Framework Clock, or in short the CIPSA clock. The reason I have this concept is to demonstrate that the CIPSA framework is a very simple framework. Anybody can follow it, understand it, and use it. Also, this framework supports both Scrum and Kanban. The most important part of this framework is it is practical, hands-on, and demonstrated with MS Project Agile software. Any other software which is supporting Agile approaches can be used. Of course, the software has to be robust to support both Kanban and Scrum. So in this clock, as you can see, we have 12 clock pointers, which is typically seen in a clock. From 12 o'clock, then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, till again 12 o'clock. So first we start with establish the product goal. Product goal is the one-time single objective of the product backlog. Next we have cross-team backlog refinement. So this is in clock pointer 2. Because the product goal drives the content of the product backlog. What are the top order items will be available in the product backlog is decided by the product goal. In clock pointer 3 we have with CIPSA planning build the CIPSA backlog. The CIPSA backlog will be derived from the product backlog, and the CIPSA backlog will have the CIPSA goal. Next, in clock pointer 4 we have in the sprint or release execute the work items. So now we have the CIPSA backlog, which is a combination or sum of individual teams backlog, and of course we will have CIPSA meta events related line items. Now we are going to execute the work item. Now because CIPSA framework supports both Scrum as well as Kanban, we have sprint for Scrum, release for Kanban. Next, in clock pointer 5 we have conduct the CIPSA daily stand-ups. As you do the stand-ups, we have impediments, issues which will be emerging. It can also come up at any point in time in the sprint or release. So the next item is remove impediments, issues, and mitigate risk. Next is the clock pointer 7, ensure continuous integration. In CIPSA, we are not focused with individual teams increment. We are looking at the integrated increment, which is the sum of all integrated work coming from the individual teams. Then we have the CIPSA integrated increment, which will be coming towards the end of the sprint or release. Conduct the CIPSA review is next in clock pointer 9. In the CIPSA review meta event, we present the CIPSA integrated increment. If there are any changes needed or adjustment needed to the product backlog will be updated, which is in clock pointer number 10. The last one is conduct the CIPSA retrospective meta event. If there is any improvement to be done or taken up, that can be taken up in the next sprint or release. And finally, in the clock we have repeat, because we are going for the next sprint or the next release. That's it. And it is very simple. Just to recap, establish the product goal, do the backlog refinement with cross team members, with CIPSA planning meta event, build the CIPSA backlog, then execute the backlog items in the sprint or release, conduct the CIPSA daily stand-ups, remove impediments, issues, and mitigate the risks, ensure continuous integration, have the CIPSA integrated increment, present this CIPSA integrated increment in the CIPSA review meta event. If any change, update the product backlog, conduct the CIPSA retrospective, and finally repeat. Is there any other framework which can be so simple? And this is a scaled agile framework which is practical, hands-on. So the detailed explanation with respect to the CIPSA framework clock has been given in the article, the link for which is available in the video description notes. You can go through the article. More elaboration will be available in the upcoming CIPSA certification course. As I said in the beginning or sometime before, the framework concept for the CIPSA framework is to show you this CIPSA framework is very simple to use and apply.